Welcome back. It's Eric Arnold here in my secondary studio. Wee hours of Wednesday, the 2nd of March. I'm going to bring you an episode of the Politics Barn. We've had a couple requests here from some subscribers to talk about the war, the Russia-Ukrainian war. What do I know about it? I'm not totally ignorant about these kind of things. I do have a degree in political science and history. So, we're talking about probably the biggest geopolitical event since the Vietnam War, I would say. What's going on over there in the Ukraine. So, the specific question I was asked by one of our key subscribers was, why did Russia invade? Is it as simple as they're just a bully and they're picking on their weaker neighbor? They're just taking over because they can? Yeah, I think it's more complicated than that. My viewpoint on this, as I made clear in my previous video that I made when the war was hours old, I think we ought to be staying out of this as much as possible. If that makes me a Putin appeaser, well, then that's what it makes me. Why did Russia invade? To hear them tell it, they view Ukraine as a threat. Now you might say that's all crap. I'm telling you what they think. They just think that country is right on their border, and they do not want any kind of threat, any kind of unfriendly power sitting right next to them. It's about as simple as that. You could say it's somewhat akin to the Russian-Cuban Missile Crisis, if you will, if you remember that. In 1962, the Americans, we caught the Russians trying to install missiles in Cuba, which is 90 miles off the shore of Florida. Our satellites showed that the Russians were building missile sites that they were going to then bring in missiles, install them, and lo and behold, we'd have ballistic missiles just off our shore that could hit us rapidly. And Kennedy and everyone said, hell no, we're not going to put up with that. Not when we have to shoot missiles up over the North Pole to hit you way over there on the other side of the world, Russia, and you're going to have missiles right next to us? No way. So the outcome of that was the two sides negotiated. Khrushchev, leader of the Soviets at the time, and Kennedy, and the Russians agreed to remove the missiles. Now, the Americans then also agreed quietly, non-publicly, to remove some antique missiles that were in Turkey pointed at the Russians. We did that like 6 months after the fact to kind of, hey, we're not going to admit this out loud, but, we will give you something to get rid of those missiles that you're planning to put in Cuba. I think the Russians see it kind of the same way, that they just feel like they do not want the Western powers, NATO, to have, I guess, a country that's a NATO power, which is, I guess, the whole purpose of NATO is to stand up to non-NATO powers, that'd be Russia. So they don't want, I don't want an enemy, the right word, an opponent, a non-friend right next to them. Again, this is what they're saying. Now, the counter argument to that would be, hey, the Ukraine wasn't doing anything to those guys. They're just there doing their own thing, living their lives. They're not antagonizing the Russians. There was no reason for the Russians to just go in their whole hog and just try to take over the place. That's totally out of bounds, not right. Civilized nations don't do this. Hey, no argument there from me. I mean, the Russians really should not have invaded, but we're talking about Vladimir Putin here. He's a stone cold killer. That's what this guy is. He's a dictator. He has no regard for human life, and that includes his own citizens. He doesn't care if his own guys get killed, if his own soldiers get killed. This is just him trying to, I guess, get a little more space for himself. I mean, you could say Hitler did the same thing. Uh, was it right when Hitler did it? Hell no. Hell no. But, that's what Putin's doing. From what I've read on the internet, I kind of believe this to be true, so I'll tell you what it is. There was a Putin puppet in charge, a Putin friendly guy in charge of the Ukraine, at least in 2014. There was a revolution of some type that overthrew that guy. Then you get a series of other governments that were installed or elected in the Ukraine. Putin blames us for that. He blames the United States. He blames the CIA that we orchestrated that revolution in 2014. So now this unfriendly government that's sitting on his doorstep, he blames us for that. I think, yes, we were probably involved in getting that Putin puppet kicked out of the Ukraine, and now we have basically our puppet in charge over there, Zelensky. So the Ukrainian government now certainly more favorable to us than it is to him. Why do I think we shouldn't get involved in this? It's just, these things tend to get out of control, and no one wants war, and no one wants to see a peaceful nation get run over by a bully. On the other hand, where do we draw the line? At a certain point, when is it not our business? If we just keep involved, even the worst of the worst hawks in this country who want to go over there and kick ass and take names, even they seem to recognize that we can't just go in there with American troops and fight the Russian troops. I haven't heard anyone credible say we should be doing that yet, which is, I guess, thank God there's some sanity somewhere. I mean, why would we do that? In other words, if we did that, what happens? Well, we're at war with Russia. I mean, an actual shooting war with Russia. They're a nuclear power. There's no saying at some point that they're not going to go nuclear on us. So that's why you got to be careful about how much you want to get involved here. I keep thinking back to World War One. World War One started with, you just had some dude who was associated with Austria-Hungary. I think he was the heir to the throne of Austria-Hungary. He was assassinated. It was done by a radical from another country, Serbia. So Austria-Hungary now, they want to kick the shit out of Serbia because they blame the whole country for having one guy assassinate their, heir to the throne. I don't know if I don't know. We could draw a parallel. Would that be like somebody shooting Hunter Biden? So now we've got to go. Canada kills Hunter Biden, so now we got to go take out Canada. I don't know how that quite works, but anyway, Austria-Hungary wants to go wipe out Serbia. Well, everybody just started choosing sides. and without any thought of the consequences. That's the lesson I drew from that. Um, Germany quietly told Austria-Hungary, "Hey, we got your back. We're down for anything, man. Anything you want to get into, we're with you." Russia, they decided we're going to back Serbia. If they invade Serbia, we're down with that. Now, I don't know why. They didn't have any kind of treaty with Serbia, but that's what the Tsar decided. Hey, if they attack Serbia, I'm going to back Serbia. And then next thing you know, France decides they want to throw in with the Russians, and the British followed suit. And next thing you know, everyone thought that thing would be over in months, just like most wars. I doubt many people go to war thinking, well, this is going to be a 10-year deal, or this is going to be a 4-year deal, or whatever. They always think it's going to take less time than it actually does, that less people are going to get killed than actually do, that the damage is going to be acceptable, and it's always more. It's always more. At a certain point, as I said, hey, a bully is picking on a weaker person. That sucks. You want to jump in there and help defend the weaker person. But at a certain point, then when does certain things just not be part of your business? What is the strategic value of the Ukraine to the United States? It just doesn't have a hell of a lot of strategic value. What I worry about is that this is going to get out of control. That's what I'm worried about. It sucks that this guy Putin is killing all these poor innocent Ukrainians. It sucks. But what exactly, we're hitting them with sanctions. Good, I guess, but we can't hit him too hard, can we? I know some people are just, my brother, he just wants to go in there and kick ass and take names. He's down, to fight to the death to defend the Ukraine. And I'm thinking, what the hell for? I mean, do you hear yourself? Do you know what that means? I kind of put, trying to back to the original question, why did he invade? What if our closest neighbor, say, I don't know, let's just say Mexico. I was going to say Canada, but, just to try to keep it maybe a little more realistic, Mexico, because their government's a little more unstable, perhaps, than the Canadian government. What if Mexico just decided, you know what? We've decided that our newest best friend is China, and we're going to be buddy-buddy with China. We're going to send all our oil to China. We're going to take their weaponry, and we're going to use it to build bases. We're even going to let them come in here and build the bases. There'll be Chinese warheads and missile bases and Air Force bases. We'll put them in Juarez and Tijuana, and we wouldn't go for that. Not a chance would we go for that. So, that's the way the Russians saw the Ukraine as far as their alliance, or how they wanted to become closer and closer to the West, to become a NATO power. Where this NATO thing is, they have this World War I kind of linkage, this Article 5, where you attack one, you attack them all. So Putin, he just didn't want that. And this is a guy who, an invasion, I'm a thug, I'm a killer. It's not something that really bothers him. Now what we have to hope for is that his own people throw him over. Now, I don't know that's realistic. I don't know how tight he is in there, how much control he has over his own people. Um, the guy's been there 20 years. Yeah, this is one of the things I think that you have to think about. 20 years, that's a long time to make sure you got loyalists, fanatics next to you that are not going to throw you over. Anybody that's even remotely disloyal, I would have thought he'd kill those people long ago. So I don't know how much we can hope that he gets overthrown by his own people. One thing I'd like you all to think about is, and I don't think a lot of people are seriously considering this possibility, Putin could escalate this thing. If he thinks that he's not getting what he wants, which is basically a puppet government friendly to him in the Ukraine, if he doesn't get what he wants, what happens then? Is he just going to crawl back across the border and say, oops, all right, you got me, I lost. My bad, my mistake. Oops. He could do that, maybe. I hope he does that. That'd be great. This guy's a hardcore killer, though. He's just going to stand down and lose face like that. I don't know, man. That I'm thinking maybe I hate to say this, but as likely as that, he escalates this somehow. I don't think he has done half of what he could do yet. You're hearing all kind of reports that the Ukrainians are kicking his ass, and they are just standing up to him in a way he had no way of possibly imagining that this invasion would be this tough. Maybe not. I mean, I know this. I think I read, and I think this is true, that the Ukrainians themselves have admitted that he's encircled the capital, that he's already surrounded Kiev. And people are telling me, well, it took him a long time. It took him a week. Is that a long time? I don't think he's brought his heavy muscle to bear yet. He could level that place if he wanted to. I can tell just by watching closed caption TV on the internet that most of Kiev looks like it's still standing to me. I don't think he's just carpet bombed the place yet. So yeah, I think he's trying to take the place intact. I don't think he's brought his heavy guns to bear yet, if you will. So I think there's still a lot of room for this guy to escalate. Furthermore, he could escalate beyond the borders of the Ukraine. What's to stop this guy? He's already made it clear that anybody helping the Ukraine is going to be determined by him to be an enemy combatant, basically. So we're sending weapons. We're sending them left and right. We're doing all kind of economic sanctions. We're trying to cut this guy off. We did that to the Japanese in World War II. We cut off their oil in 41? I don't know. We cut off their oil, I know, at least probably 6 months before Pearl Harbor, and then shazam, we got attacked. Surprise. We didn't fire the first shot, but we got attacked. They escalated because of economic sanctions. It has happened in history. So I don't know. I mean, just going in there and assisting the Ukraine whole hog is not without risk. And I keep coming back to, is it worth it? I mean, is it worth it? What are we getting out of this? A friendly Ukrainian government? There are a lot of countries in this world. Why on earth do I need a friendly Ukrainian government? I mean, there was a puppet Russian government over there for years before 2014. The world didn't end. It didn't really bother us. I mean, he took over the Crimea in 2014 in response to the revolution, and no one said anything. Now, we're going to make this life and death struggle over the Ukraine. I mean, escalation could take any number of forms. Um, he could escalate within the country of the Ukraine and just start whole hog killing civilians, um, just lay waste to the cities. He could do that. Um, he could do something outside the borders of the Ukraine. I mean, what if he decides, I'm going to target a United States aircraft carrier? We're just going to take one out. What would we do? Would we nuke him? Would we invade? Would there be the will to do that? Remember this. This is a bitterly divided country, the United States is at the moment. So if Joe Biden called an emergency address or press conference or whatever and said at such and such 1500 hours, the United States whatever carrier has been sunk by Russian missiles. I am immediately placing all our military on alert, and we're going to invade as soon as possible, et cetera, et cetera. Would the country line up and back him, knowing that he still has a whole nuclear war chest that he hasn't used yet? I mean, do we really want to get in a fist fight with a nuclear power over a country that's way over there, that's not in our strategic realm? I just, I guess the heroic answers. Hell yes, let's go to the mattresses. There was almost a dead body in my house the other day, almost a dead body, because my brother, Mr. Lockdown, Mr. Let's take everybody in the whole United States for 2 years and lock them inside their houses. He said, freedom isn't free. And I almost killed him because, I've been saying that for 2 years that, hey, we want to be free here. We want to take our chances with this goddamn virus that nearly everybody survives. And you're the one telling me that I got to be safe and I got to stay inside. But all of a sudden, freedom isn't free for a country that's way over in Eastern Europe. And now I'm the one that's got to, we got to take a chance on nuclear war to free them. I don't think we should be involved in this. I think we should mind our own business. This is my opinion. And I haven't seen anything yet to make me change my opinion. Just something we should be staying out of. So I hope it ends. To me, what should be happening right here is, and maybe it is, this could be happening. I don't think it is, but it could be. The president should be de-escalating this. Perhaps he's having secret talks with Putin behind the scenes. That could be happening. I doubt it, just based on my assessment of our president. This is a guy that just ended the State of the Union address with some weird non sequitur blurt out saying, go get him. Go get him? Let's go get him? Who are we getting? Are you talking about Putin or Donald Trump? What the hell does that mean? Go get him. So, yeah, that's the guy that's going to be conducting, de-escalatory peace talks with Putin. Yeah, I doubt it. But that's what should be happening. They should be trying to turn this thing off. And instead, everything I see is things that are ramping it up. I don't like where this is going. I really don't. As I said in the original video I made about this, I don't care. If Putin takes over the Ukraine, I simply don't care. It does not affect me. At some point, yeah, okay, now he's Hitler, and now I gotta care because he's taken over the next country, and then the next country, and then pretty soon he's in Berlin. And then at some point, yeah, you gotta do something. I don't think he has nearly the capability to go much further than the Ukraine. He may not even have enough capability to take over the Ukraine. This guy simply may have bitten off more than he could chew. But the more desperate the guy gets, I think the more dangerous he gets. So maybe we ought to just be a little careful about this, just like Walt told Hank there, and in Breaking Bad. Maybe we should tread lightly here. Just not go whole hog in there. And now, let's all throw in with the Ukrainians, our long-time ally. Oh, wait, our ally since like yesterday. Yeah, maybe we ought to just kind of mind our own business a little bit here. That's what I'm thinking. So that's just me. I'm a Putin appeaser. So, that's me. Frankly, I think a lot of people in this country think just the same way I do. I don't think that there's this huge majority of Americans that say, yeah, I want to get involved in a shooting war in Eastern Europe. I think that's a good idea. I think that's a stupid idea. Hey, that's me, Eric Arnold. I believe in free speech. We'll talk again.